All right, my name is Lisa Zier, and I'm doing this report for technical reporting. I am discussing the daily bag limits on Wisconsin inland waters regarding fish, and if these limits should be reduced at all or keep them the same. My audience members are here with me, and we are also going to be following along with a PowerPoint presentation that I made. And then I also gave my audience members outlines just to kind of follow along in detail what we're going to be talking about today. So again, the feasibility study is for daily fish limits on Wisconsin inland waters. If you want to both follow along with me on my PowerPoint presentation as we continue with the study. The purpose of this report, again, is to look at what the daily bag limits are on Wisconsin inland waters and if these limits should stay the same or if they should be reduced at all. We're going to look at the present day bag limits, the different sizes and kinds of fish, and what those limits are on those fish, environmental issues that may be contributing to any decline in the fish population, and what is being done or can be done, if anything, to help this fish population out. My information was obtained from magazine articles, websites, and in particular a Department of Natural Resources pamphlet, which had many articles and much information that I used. The scope of this report is specific to just Wisconsin inland waters. So is the fish population declining in Wisconsin lakes? Most people feel that Wisconsin is plentiful with fish. We have so many lakes. Wisconsin actually has over 13,000 miles of streams and 15,000 lakes. So one would think that these are full of fish, but in recent years these seem to be declining as well. It should be a sportsman's dream, but that's not necessarily always the case. So are the size of the fish getting smaller, do we think, too? Or is it just the fish population in general that's declining? Daily bag limits right now for many fish in Wisconsin lakes are about 25 fish per day. This is particular in panfish such as bluegill, crappie, sunfish, pumpkin seed. Now this 25 fish a day can be taken out of one lake, or you could go to multiple lakes during the day and add that total number up. So the argument that some people have is, what if they only go fishing one time a year and the fish are biting and they're reeling in all these fish and they could have maybe kept 50 of these fish and this is the only chance they get all year to go fishing? Well, the odds are most people, most sports fishermen, do not only fish once a year, they go out more than once a year. And then you also have to take into consideration the size of the fish that they're keeping. For largemouth and smallmouth bass, 5 of those fish are allowed, and it depends on what part of the state you're in. If you're north of Highway 10, your limits are different than if you're south of Highway 10. Some fish, such as bullheads, have no daily limit. People can take as many of those as they want. They're more bottom feeders, not the type that the sport fisherman is out to find. Walleye are also 5 a day. So again, are these numbers too high? Should they be reduced? That's again what we're looking at in this report. So many feel that the fish population is not what it used to be. Fishermen are taking too many fish, too small of fish, not giving these fish time to reproduce. The record walleye for the state of Wisconsin was set, for the largest walleye, was set back in 1933. The muskie was in 1919. Those records are a long time ago. So why is it that nobody can seem to be breaking these fish records anymore? What happened to these fish? Why are there only smaller ones out there right now? Is it just coincidental that nobody's catching these fish, or is something going on that these fish are smaller? There are many different angles to this as in why this is happening. A lot of it could possibly be environmental. We've had an introduction in our lakes and streams to something called the zebra mussel and also the Asian carp. Zebra mussel are the only type of mussel that can cling and attach itself to surfaces. So the problem is that when fishermen come in their boats, the zebra mussels attach to the bottom of their boats, and then when they go to another lake or stream, they take those zebra mussels with them and contaminate another lake. The zebra mussels eat the small plankton in the water that our fish feed off in their breeding grounds, so they are eating the habitat of our local fish in our lakes. The also big problem is Asian carp. Asian carp were first introduced to the U.S. water system in 1970, and they have rapidly spread since then. Asian carp are such a nuisance because they can eat 20% of their body weight in a day, and they can weigh up to 100 pounds. These fish grow huge. So the problem is that they, again, are eating all the vegetation for our fish. Also, when they lay their eggs, when they spawn, they lay 1,000,000 eggs every time they spawn. That just goes to show how much everything has gotten out of control. If you look at the PowerPoint, I do have pictures of zebra mussels and what they look like, and also an Asian carp, and kind of, you can get a picture of what a big, ugly nuisance that they are. Another contributing factor to the possible decline is just pollution in our lakes and streams. One cause of this pollution could possibly be farming. The creeks and the runoff from the farm fields, the pesticides that they use creates the green algae bloom in waters, and this causes nitrogen and phosphorus pollution. This can also be caused from lawn fertilizers, septic systems, animal waste, and just sewage treatment plants in general. Nitrogen is the most common chemical that is found as far as a contaminant in Wisconsin groundwater. And statewide, our levels of nitrogen in our groundwater is 10% higher than federal regulations. And also there is a mercury warning on all Wisconsin lakes. Just to be careful sometimes of the amount of fish that you eat because of this contamination. There are ways, though, to combat this. Just simple things like picking up your waste and from your own pets, from livestock, and also if you do need to fertilize your own gardens or fields or crops, to follow the package directions. Those package directions are on there for proven reasons. If you exceed those limits, that's when the extra contamination starts in. Again, looking to the PowerPoint, one of the biggest declines in the Wisconsin fish population is the yellow perch. This is what the Wisconsin fish fry is known for. Perch were so huge in the system, and now all of a sudden they're declining. This has been a dramatic decline. In 1995, they finally closed commercial fishing of yellow perch on our waters because of the decline. But once they did that, they realized that the fish population for yellow perch was down 95%. That's a huge amount. That's almost gone. So due to this continued decline, in June 1996, sport harvest was reduced to 5 perch per day. And even in Green Bay today, there's still very limited commercial fishing on the perch. And a lot of times people probably think they're getting a local perch fish fry, but more than likely it is not. It's coming from other parts of the country due to the closure of the harvesting of these. They did form a yellow perch task group to try to figure out what is going on with these perch. Why is there such a decline in their population? And they're trying to look at what areas of the fish life might be causing or having the issue with death or decline. The first area they looked at were the early stages of life, like their eggs, and they really found that there wasn't a problem in the egg life of these fish. One possible thing that could be happening is that people are taking fish too small. Again, not waiting for those fish to mature for the fish to spawn. And also they found when they examined fish from the inland lakes of Wisconsin compared to other lakes in the United States that the females were developing faster than the males. And so this meant that more females were being harvested, again, which wasn't leaving the females to spawn. And again, another thing goes back to just those zebra mussels in our lakes and streams. They figure that they may be eating the vegetation, they may be eating the plankton, the organisms that the yellow perch eat, and they're actually starving. They can't get big enough. They have nothing to eat. Their habitat is being choked out by these invasive species. It says an indefinite clause. They're still trying to research what happened, but these are very much what they're thinking the ideas may be. So in conclusion, again, should the daily bag limits on Wisconsin waters be changed? Based on all the research that I came upon during this report, the Department of Natural Resources is doing a very good job monitoring the Wisconsin lakes. They're trying to keep the invasive species out. They're trying to help with pollution. They're trying to educate the fishermen. They're out in boats monitoring the water system, making sure that people are not overexceeding their daily bag limits. Given all this information, the daily bag limits are under control and should remain the same, with the exception of yellow perch. Yellow perch, unfortunately, needs to be closed for now regarding the research so that this fish can recover so it's not lost forever. Pollution can be controlled. Zebra mussels and Asian carp can be contained. And if we do this, the fish population can remain healthy for future generations. The research finds that the Wisconsin fish population is again under excellent monitoring. With the DNR's help, they're out there trying to do everything they can to ensure that there are fish for the future. And it really seems like they're doing a great job and that this can be accomplished with it. If everybody does their part, if we wash our boats, if we pick up our yard waste, if all these things can be done and contained, then definitely the fish population can remain healthy for generations to come. These bag limits should again stay in effect the way that they are, except for the yellow perch. Thank you for giving me this research opportunity. I've learned a lot about the fish population in the inland waters during my research and how much is really being done to try to help and protect our resources that we have, our natural resources. Thank you.